Hello, everybody, and welcome to OpenExO Live. It's really good to be with you this week. This week, we have Corina with us from Barcelona. And you can see there are two more people left in this season of OpenExO Live. We'll probably take a little break before we get going for the next season of OpenExO Live. And if you're interested in sharing your story, your EXO journey, and more, do head over to the marketplace and apply to be on the show, or just contact me through the OpenExO platform. Would really be great to share your story. And before we get Corina up on stage, I do have some words from a few community members, starting with Augusto. And he just said, I have worked with Corina in a number of different capacities, including her as head coach, as a disruptor, and now as a coach. She is full of energy, experience, and lots of new ideas. Passion defines Corina. Next, we have from Anna. Corina is a dedicated, enthusiastic, tireless professional and a master of her field of expertise. She has the great ability to challenge you, and it has been always a pleasure to collaborate with her. Next from Paco, Corina is a great example of a person with an exponential mindset and vision. She can use her past experience and successes to create opportunities for the future. Her confidence and understanding of abundance allow her to share all those possibilities generously. Being part or learning from her initiatives is a must. And then lastly, from Anne, Corina's knowledge of innovation and disruption frameworks is only surpassed by her passion for guiding teams through the process. She brings high energy to her work and focuses on making the experience engaging and fun. I always learn something new from Corina, so I'm looking forward to hearing her interview today. And so with that, I want to welcome Corina. How are you doing this afternoon?
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. I'm doing good. I'm here in Barcelona. It's sunny today. Well, not that sunny, but not as bad as it has been the past days. So I'm happy.
That is great. And so, I mean, it's always great chatting to you. For those people who've never met Corina, or who don't know who Corina is, if you could just quickly share, a little bit about you, about your background, and how you came into the EXO community.
Awesome. So I have been working in the corporate world for many, many years. I was working at HP at that time in Silicon Valley in San Francisco. I was working there for 5 years in innovation. And I started to hear something about exponential organizations, exponentiality. Singularity University was running some events. So I started to connect with this new world for me, and I felt in love totally. My passion drives me, as many of the people have said. So I went directly into that, and I started to learn about the EXO movement. I started to meet the people that were driving this. I was one of the EXO initiators when, back in 2016, after the book was released, the first release, because now we have the second one. So that's how I ended up here in this world. I started to apply the EXO principles, mindset, tools into my day-to-day, but I was doing a lot of incremental innovation, so it was a little bit hard to start. But I was putting some pieces there and there, and I decided to, at some point, to fully move into the EXO movement and help other companies to do that and to join this amazing new world that now is a reality. Right at that time in 2017, when I decided to take the leap was not that obvious. But I think more and more are joining, are changing, are transforming, and are embracing these new technologies and what they can do for them. So that's how I end up here. Wait, I cannot hear Kevin.
Can you believe it? What a rookie mistake! I've been doing this for 3 years, and now I go and keep myself on mute. I mean, really great to hear that summarized version of your story, right? Because you've worked with so many organizations, and I guess we'll get into that, and ultimately, with the EXO model, a purpose is so important, right? And organizations having a massive purpose is something that's really important. Can you share your personal MTP and perhaps how, like, developing that, since being in corporate, then working with organizations, how you've gone about developing that? Lots of people struggle with how to actually come up with an MTP, right?
Yeah, it's a hard thing, and I think it for me it didn't come like an eureka moment. One day I woke up and I said, "Oh, I have an NTP now." It was more like doing things and figuring out where my curiosity was and where I was enjoying the most. So I think for me one key moment was when we had the pandemic in 2020, and I felt super powerless. Like I felt that there was nothing that I could do, and the world was changing and getting into this drama, right? Like pandemic, and it was a feeling of wow, like what can we do about this, right? And I totally lost my trust in governments at that time. I didn't have a lot, but at that time was like really like, okay, this is over for me next. Like I given you a lot of opportunities, institutions as well. Like I could see that that it was about the people, right? And I said, well, what can we give to people that they can change the world, right? Like that we can change it together, because it's something that if we are relying on institutions, on governments, or even companies, right? Like it's not enough, right? So that's when I thought it's all about empowering the people to create a better future. It's all about us believing the story of being change agents in the world. We can change things. We have seen and we see many kids or teens that are creating amazing impacts in their communities, in the world, right? So what can I do to contribute to that, right? And I thought I have a lot of knowledge and innovation. I have worked, for many years applying design thinking in a startup, now EXO. So how can I bring this to people that want to change the world, and give them the tools that they need to do it, and the mentality, right? The mindset. Yeah. So that's how I came up with it. But it was like not a straight process. And I feel very connected to it now, which I think that's the important thing. That now when I wake up, and every time that we go through an EXO sprint or an EXO training, and I see the effect on the people, it's when I feel happy. So
no, absolutely. I've actually just come back from Sri Lanka, where I spoke at an event and ran a workshop. And when you actually see people's minds
I think we lost Kevin.
to what is possible, fantastic, just disappeared. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, folks. I seem to be having some weird issues with my computer, and I have restarted it 4 times in order to make it stop doing this. So it might be time for an upgrade. So sorry about that, Corina. I hope that you heard most of what I said. Then you've mentioned sprints now, and you've played a number of roles on sprints, including being the head coach, being the coach. And so can you share a little bit about the evolution of that sort of coaching journey, right? Because, there's always an evolution and trying to make things, better and better as we progress.
Yeah, well, and I've been participating in many, like since the very first one in Mexico and with Interprotección, and now with Siemens Energy, we're just running another one. I think for me the evolution has been in two aspects. So one is that at the beginning I was focusing a lot of effort, or all the effort, in the exponentiality, right? Like the EXO model and learning the EXO model. And then I realized that it's kind of layers of innovation when that you have companies that are thinking in their business, their product, their technology, right? They are very business focused. We have then companies that have moved into a client world, are thinking about the user, and they're practicing like design thinking, this service design, these type of things. And then lean startup, experimentation, agile. So this is like an evolution that we have seen in the way we innovate, as we were seeing how the context was changing, like the innovation was getting adapted to that, right? So then from experimentation says, okay, put the customer at the center, as design thinking tells you to do, but do it in a very fast way. And we still see a lot of companies doing personas, like very well defined, that they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. Or we see people saying, well, we have talked to 100 customers. Well, maybe you can talk to 10 and then move into action, like I'm bringing something, instead of having this like non-agile way. So I think the agility movement back in the 90s was super, super helpful in the innovation, in the way we innovate. And then EXO came and said, well, take everything that you have learned about agility, and therefore, about customer centricity, but add the NTP, add a purpose, take into account that there is an immune system, so that you have, some things that you need to put on the edge, so that not all the innovation is the same. You have disruptive innovation, you have, incremental innovation, or innovation disruption, as many people call it as well. And then, bring these elements of exponentiality, not only the EXO attributes, but the exponential technologies, the 6D impact, the 10X, etc. So teaching or coaching on EXO without coaching on the other two was very challenging to me, because if you don't have that agility, you can create the best dashboards or the best, engagement options, but you need to do it in an agile way, and you need to do it having the customer at the center. So I think my coaching style and training has moved from just EXO to understanding how everything orchestrates under the exponential paradigm, but taking elements of design thinking, taking elements of experimentation. So that I think that is one aspect that I have changed a lot in my journey. And then another aspect, when I started, I was focusing a lot on the technical part, people understanding how to use the tools, the process, creating the skills, to innovate. But now I have, in the past 3 years, I have put a lot of focus on the people development. When you are coaching, there is the technical aspect, but there is also the personal aspect, and you are driving a high-performing team into, you're putting them in a very tension environment, and you need to get the most of it, right? And you need to be able to mobilize them, and you need to be able to handle the concerns and moving people. So, from the panic zone back to the learning zone, and from the comfort zone to the learning zone. So like learning about how to do that, creating strategies and adaptive leadership here has helped me a lot. This is one of the, movements and frameworks that I'm using. But I think I have become a better coach by understanding those things better. And I had a coach, Claudia, that was shadowing me in some EXO sprints. And I was talking with the team, and I was listening to what they were telling me about the assignment, giving them the feedback, reading them, looking at them at the screen. And then Claudia, in the private chat, Corina, there is someone that switched off the camera. You need to verbalize this. I was like, oh my God, I cannot do all at the same time, like why I cannot pretend that everything is okay and the assignment is well done and that's it. So bit by bit, I've been becoming, like more knowledgeable about the human side of coaching. And I think that has increased the overall experience a lot. Like I see when they have, and even when the team is going well, you see week 1 and they go like a rocket, week 2, amazing. That now I know that at some point they're gonna drop down, and I, like I need to connect them with the purpose or to verbalize the achievements, like these type of strategies that I was not doing before in a conscious way, and now I have integrated in the coaching journey.
Okay, yeah, I mean that's really awesome. The one thing I often say is that the one aspect of the EXO model and EXO thinking that's really great is that it incorporates other innovation techniques, right? It's not exclusive. It's not saying if you're going to do EXO, you can't leverage jobs to be done, or you can't leverage agile or design thinking or all these other frameworks that can actually improve the way that the process works. Now, I mean, the sprint process, of course, that 10-week process, taking teams through these highs and lows. It's so interesting because it is difficult. It's not easy, but it really works. So what would you say are maybe like 2 or 3 nuggets of sort of wisdom around that experience and actually being able to coach teams through it?
I think the most important part is how you set up the EXO sprint scope and KPIs. Like the moment, and I have seen a transition as well. I think a lot of things has changed before and after the COVID. One thing that I have seen changing is how EXO sprint were very focused on bringing ideas to the table, right? Like bring ideas that are exponential, that have this abundance sources, etc. And now I see a shift to the people side again. Like you are here to learn, and and we had the Siemens Energy opening last week as part of the EXO sprint that we are starting with EXO Solutions. And Vinoy, the sponsor, he said, if you learn and you grow, that your business will grow, and if your business will grow, that will help the company to transform. But the focus now is on learning, and that is much well taken for, or much better taken from the participants, because before, like, they were joining super enthusiastic, but then over the course of the weeks they were getting frustrated, they were going through a transformation process, right? That's what we want, to switch that mindset. But at some point they were asking themselves, like, why am I doing this? Why am I taking so much time of my day-to-day, like dealing with my personal and business requirements to do this? And now when they have the clarity, okay, I'm doing this to grow, and I have the possibility to influence the company and to change the future of my company, it changes the speech, and I have seen a transition from companies on that. For example, in HP as well, we did the first EXO sprint was about defining the future of the large format printing, and the last one that we did in 3D. And you could totally say defining the 3D printing future, right? Because this is an area that is full of exploration. The scope was building a new innovation muscle within the organization, and having you guys empowered and embracing this EXO to lead the change, and having new ideas. So, but it's part of the KPIs, having new ideas, having, these new methodologies applied. And you said that very well, Kevin. The good thing about innovation is that the methodologies don't contradict each other. You don't have to marry with one or another. They complement, each other. So, and that's for me, that's amazing, because when you go into leadership, like, if you have one theory, the other one is conflicting some way. Here it doesn't, no? But yeah, the EXO sprint, for me, the biggest transition that I have seen is putting the focus more on the people. And I think the pandemic made us more humans. thanks God, and even in corporations and many other places that we were not, thinking in those terms. I think that has changed, and setting a nice scope, and bringing people back to that purpose. Hey, we are here for us in Siemens, in my team. Every week we ask 3 questions. Are we learning? Have we learned this week? Because we do it on the retro. Have we have fun? Many times will be no. Now they are yes, because it's week 2, but I know it's coming. And whenever that is coming, okay, why? And give them the chance to verbalize those frustration things. And then the third one is, am I growing as an individual and as a team? And the ideas will come for sure. It's part of the process. They're gonna come. They're gonna be great. They're gonna be tested. They're gonna have customer insights inside them. But it's more the what's in for me that has totally changed the approach to a transformational process such as the sprint.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We know that ultimately it's a massively transformational process for the individuals, for the people. And at the end of the day, organizations are made up of people, right? So if you're gonna make a change, you have to be changing those people, right? And we say it often in awake sessions, like Exponential's not intuitive, right? And so it's not easy for people who haven't been involved in this for a long time to actually just pick it up. And so but having said that, you have been involved in EXO for a fairly long time. And so how are you actually leveraging exponential and this the abundance thinking that we use in everything you do, right? You do multiple projects, so how are you actually using the EXO attributes or EXO thinking to actually manage that within your own life?
Well, for me, the exponential concept that I like the most is the abundance, and I try to apply the abundance in many things that I do, like from using, like a chat GPT or, like exponential technologies, or also the like learning with others. I know Paco and Anne said that, no? Like with Corina, we learned that there are things new. So for me, this idea of abundance, I remember when we launched the master in EXO, it is the first master that is just on exponential organizations and how you develop that exponential mindset. That Eada said, oh, it's the only master in the world. And I was like, no, it's the first one. Doesn't mean it's the only one, so I keep correcting people. And like I have done that before, and some people were not that happy and they kept using the only. But I loved how Eada reacted, and like the dean sent an email immediately to the marketing, the sales guys. Please use the first one, instead of the only one. So that bringing that abundance mindset to everyone that is around me and to everything that I do, that's what I like, because I believe, that we are in an abundance world in many things, abundance of love and abundance of powerful people and extraordinary people. And I think we need to do that little step on applying that. And sometimes in EXO, we think so big that at some point it's a bit overwhelmed. And what I like is to start doing it in my day-to-day. Like, for example, with the cleaning lady, that comes to my house. So how can I give her some, like I raise her salary with no question from her, no asking. So these type of things for me are the purpose. It becomes easier than when I think about like huge things. And I think there is a balance. And in my day-to-day, I try to apply more in my network, thinking about the butterfly effect and how that will create another, like an impact and another impact, and driven all by this abundance. I love teaching coaches. I have had one EXO sprint, we have 8 shadow coaches. So there were 4 teams. So we have 4 for the 1 to 5 weeks and 4 other. And that's a nightmare when you have done an EXO sprint and you are the head coach and you have to deal with 8 shadows, you know, that you need to sign NDAs, you need to set up the meetings, they have problems with connectivity. So, and I did it just for the sake of providing that opportunity to someone else, because I think we all need to practice, and the better coaches we have and we are, the better for everyone. And I think that's for me how I try to implement this exponentiality in my day-to-day. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, that made a lot of sense. And at the end of the day, it is actually about how you're living it in the small things, or and it's one thing I tend to really enjoy about our community, is that most people are living what they're teaching, right? That as opposed to sharing a model and a thinking and a practice, and then not practicing it yourself, which I hope we're not doing. And I mean, but it's not easy, I mean, even within OpenExO as the core, constantly experimenting and trying new things. It isn't easy, but it is what we need to be doing right now. I wanted to just touch on the Yada Masters. How did that come about? And what what made it happen? And do you have any outcomes? It's been going now for, is it about a year already, or
So we
is
had
it?
the first edition that finalized last year. We're starting the new one in a couple of weeks. So we have a second edition, and it's running really well. Like, amazing that you have people willing to spend a year of their educational life working on EXO, deep dive into the technologies and thinking about like how to transform new former companies and how to create new ones. So it's a really nice project. Well, it all started because of course EXO was like a suite for these educational institutions, right? You have exponential organizations, a new innovation framework, new mindset. So I was teaching EXO as part of an MBA, and I still do, right? Like or they have like a sustainability 6-week course, and 1 week is about EXO. So I love that. But I have seen how design thinking was corrupted many times. Like, I'm a design thinking person. Like, I started to do it like more than 10 years ago. And I see how people are taking the tools and doing a user journey that it doesn't help, or how, like, it's not the customer. So the mentality, the mindset part is forgetting. You have the
Yes.
tool set and the skill set, but the mindset is not there. So if you don't have the right mindset, those tools or those skills are not going to help you that much. Even in some times or some situations can be the opposite, not like the innovation theaters that we have seen many times.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I don't want that to happen with EXO. I think it's great that people get to know the tools and that we have some exposure and that people get to acquire some of the skills. But I really want people to acquire the mentality, the mindset. I really want people to have that exponential mindset. And I needed like a specific program for that. And then when you start seeing how much content there is and how many things you have, because we're thinking, okay, should we do a 3-month course, a 6-month? And then you realize that at EXO we do a very bad job in documenting, right? Like we tend to say in the community that everything that is documented, it will become obsolete very soon, and it is true, because at some point we have documented the model, the EXO Spring, and now there are many things that have changed. But in any case, there was a lot of content, so we said, okay, let's do a full year master, and that's how we did it. But it was thinking about the mentality, because we thought, okay, there is no need for more people empowered to manage a business, like business administration, like an MBA. We need people empowered to transform the current businesses and to create new ones on the edge. And you require a different mindset and a different skills and a different set of tools. So that's how we created this master.
No, that's really awesome. That is so awesome. Now, Corina, we can. I want to talk more, but we pretty much have reached the time allotted, right, for this conversation. And so I always end off, with the question about, if there is one thing that you can share with people, what would that be? What is that one thing that you really want people to take away?
I would say that exponentiality is here to stay. It's not going to change. We are living in an exponential world, and that there are, dynamic, fun, and human ways of bringing this to your day-to-day, to your corporation, to your institution, to everything. So that we need to embrace that. So let's do it together. And it's every one of us. If you guys are in the ExO community already, you have a way. If not, join the community. But there are ways to bring that exponentiality and to help people to do it. So just do it.
Absolutely. Corina, thank you so much. It was great chatting to you again. I hope we can connect again soon. And when summer rolls around again in person. But yeah, it's always wonderful chatting to you, and I hope you have a fantastic afternoon.
Same here, Kevin. Nice to see
Bye.
you. Bye everyone. Ciao, ciao.
So great chatting to Corina. So full of insights around EXO and what she's doing. So if you are not a member of the community, as Corina said, join the community. If you are wondering about what EXO even is, well, the new Exponential Organizations 2.0 is out and ready for people to read at openexo.com/book. So we're going to end off with just a small video about that, and we'll see you all next week.